Bot.
Liar.
Oh my goodness. The fun starts now. Let's go. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Losers Lounge. Oh gosh. Whoa. Nuggets get their asses kicked by the New York Knicks.
That's putting it
in
lightly.
the Garden. Nearly nobody beats the Nuggets by 40 though. This one almost just 38 points, 122 to 84. 84 points. If you would have told me the Knicks scored 122, I'd have been like, Nuggets probably lost. If you told me the Nuggets scored 84, I would have said they lost. You told me they lost. Both things happened.
Dude, we got mega mundered tonight.
Mega mundered indeed.
84? The Nuggets were almost in the 70s.
At least on this show, we can still talk about All-Star. We could talk about why they got punked tonight. There's at least meat on the bone tonight. Help me out with that. I got Brennan Vogt.
Woof. We know how to pick them with watch-alongs, I'll tell you that. I actually had a lot of fun on the watch-along, though, and I saw a lot of comments that a lot of people did as well. Hopefully the Losers Lounge has the same effect. We suffer together.
We do indeed suffer together. Over here, I got Brent. Look at Harrison's like.
I'm just
Yeah.
trying
Thinking
to
man.
figure out on the fly when was the last time the Nuggets had 84 points or fewer, and I'm back in 2020 right now and still going.
You use StatHead. We have StatHead. Superstar Dev over there.
I mean, we could have all taken this night off. We had the choice,
2017.
but we had to do it together. We did this all together. We suffered together.
We do suffer
This
together.
was not a fun game.
This is the fewest points since the Nuggets scored 82 points in 2017.
Well, in the playoffs in 2020, they had the win in Game 7, 82 to 70, I think, or 82 to
Regular
80 or something
season,
like
lowest since 2017.
that. You know what?
should look at who was on that team.
Some people, and I'm not going to
Emmanuel
say
Mudiay
who.
probably starting
Dev,
at
I'm
point
not going to
guard.
say who. Some people, when the going gets tough, they bail. Not us.
Man,
Like the Nuggets tonight, did they all show up?
no.
Absolutely not.
No.
But us four on this panel,
These four
four.
right here.
Kel behind the ones and twos, we showed up.
Kel is here. Vogt's here. Adam's here. Harrison's here. I'm here.
Yeah.
Let's do a fast
big
breakdown.
four.
I'm going to tell you
I
guys,
don't
this
think
is
we're
the
missing
fastest
anybody.
fast breakdown of all time. My first note, Knicks locking up the Nuggets. This is a team that has been reinvigorated since the trade of OG Anunoby. They have an identity. They play tough. They play physical, and they play incredibly focused defense. Right from the start, you saw that. DiVincenzo on fire from three. Brunson fully in control of the game, man. Who was in control of the game tonight? Jalen Brunson was in control of it. Jokic, though, sensed that the Nuggets were struggling and kicked it into overdrive. He had 13 points. He was trying to just keep the Nuggets afloat. 33-21 Knicks after one. Knicks opened up a 19-point lead, though, against Denver's bench. Denver's bench wasn't that bad relative to the starters, but when you're down, you give up a little bit more, and it's getting ugly. Knicks getting second chance points. They keep getting rebounds, and then Jokic was poked in his eye tonight, Dev, by Dante DiVincenzo. He hit 2 free throws, and then he went to the tunnel. We didn't know if he was going to come back in.
I was scared in that moment. I was very scared.
It was scary.
Knicks were up 62-41 at the half. Man, how funny is that? That's almost exactly the score of the second half, too, 62-41. It was 60-41 in the second half, 62-41 in the first half. That's crazy. Third quarter, Jokic comes back out, our hero. Not even an eye poke will keep him out, but the Knicks still pounding Denver. KCP picked up 4 fouls, and the wheels were off. The only guy who brought it tonight is the guy who brings it literally every single night. That's Nikola Jokic. Outside of that, I'll help you with grades tonight. Fs!
A lot of them.
Peyton Watson played okay.
Peyton Watson did play okay. He might have gotten a passing grade.
I give him passing grade.
That's all I got
C+,
for the
kinda.
fast breakdown, guys. It's not even that many notes. Nuggets just got their ass
No
kicked.
notes on the Jay Huff stick?
Not really, but we can talk about it a little bit later.
Oh,
Dev,
we
what's
don't
your
have to
big
do that.
takeaway?
My big takeaway is that this was a piss-poor performance. And this is a letdown spot from the Nuggets. Jokic showed up and no one else showed up with him. And that's just not what you do to your guy. He's out there giving his all every single game. He gets hurt in this game, so you try to rally around him. You try to play hard to just show that you have your guys back. It doesn't have to be with just, scoring the basketball or anything like that, but at least show up. They did not show up for him, and they owe him. They owe Nikola Jokic for this type of game.
Yeah. They absolutely do. And, I mean, my big takeaway is that OG Anunoby ended this game in the first couple minutes of the first quarter because he came out and just, his physicality, his length, it took Jamal Murray out of this game right off the bat and took the Nuggets starters not named Nikola Jokic out of this game right away. He was incredible, and just the Knicks defense tonight, it was the best defensive effort that I've seen a team give against the Nuggets this season. That being said, last game of a 5-game road trip, a letdown was somewhat predictable. You could have seen this happening, not to this extent. It was a really bad effort from the Nuggets, but overall, I'm not going to beat the Nuggets up over this one, even though they did play terribly. But OG Anunoby, I felt ended this game in the first quarter. He was incredible. He set the tone, and the Nuggets were cool with ending it in the first quarter.
Monster performance. It really did feel like a game where the Knicks and OG in particular was we're ready for a fight. The Nuggets were really? Nah.
They were ready for the heavyweight championship. And the Nuggets were oh, that was today?
We're not.
I thought that was on Saturday.
Yeah, that was my big takeaway, too. This was... Some of these should be controllable factors, so this is a criticism, to be clear. But it looks like the Knicks woke up early. Their alarm clocks went off. They went, we got a game at home against the defending champs tonight. Can't wait to ball. And it looked like the Nuggets couldn't wait to go home.
Yeah.
They couldn't wait to get back to Denver. And they just were never in this one. OG played harder than Mike, Murray, AG combined. And so, yeah, I just thought there a lot of guys just didn't play well straight up. But also, were 100 instances of the Knicks want this more than the Nuggets. And that was clear from the jump. And there are some games where you go you can't let go of the rope. I'm not really sure if they ever had much grip on this rope, to be honest. So,
I saw somebody say it was a long road trip. I was saying 5 games. It's like a normal East Coast trip. 7 game, 8 game. That's a long road trip. 6 games, I will even give you long road trip. 5 games, it's not that long. It's tough, but
I think it's the longest road trip of the season.
Yeah, but 5. That's not a road trip where you're oh my God, nobody ever wins on a 5th game. And look, Denver, for whatever reason, just to me, my big takeaway is the same as yours, guys, but way more emphatic. The New York Knicks are dogs. That is a tough team. They have a tough-minded coach. They have tough-minded superstar in Jalen Brunson who leads them. That's a tough dude. He plays tough. They have OG Anunoby and Quentin Grimes and Josh Hart and dudes that just want to battle. Jericho Sims tonight gets the call-up, third-string center, gets the call-up to go guard Jokic. Into him all night, playing physical. And the only guy who had any interest in that level of toughness, you're right, Peyton Watson a little bit, but was Jokic. Jamal Murray tonight. You mentioned OG Anunoby. Nope. That sounded too hard. That was a too tough. We keep talking about Murray every other night. Murray, good last game. Not tonight. Maybe that's a good sign for coming up on Saturday, that the every other day theory. But tonight, Jamal Murray in 30 minutes had 9 points on 3 of 11 shooting. OG Anunoby dominated that matchup. Aaron Gordon tonight, Julius Randle dominated that matchup. Michael Porter Jr.
Dante DiVincenzo dominated that matchup.
Michael Porter tonight, man, this is a scary bad performance. Now, it's only one performance, but the fact that Mike can serve with Mike is the physicality, and then he plays that one. And then KCP. KCP tonight, dominated by Jalen Brunson. That starting 5, did his job tonight, man. 13 of 18. He offensive rebounded 2 of those misses and put him back. 31 and 11 and 3 in just 27 minutes. That's a monster Yoke performance. He did have 7 turnovers. Some of those I think were of the intentional variety to like send a message or what have you. But in a night that was like, you're going to have to be tough to check this box. The Nuggets very clearly said, no thank you. We don't care.
Yeah, they didn't just give up, but like they were punked out there. Like they had their way with Denver. They're moving faster. They had a game plan. They're playing harder. And I know that, there's the fatigue factor. You're on the road for a long time. You're tired. But that doesn't explain why these guys punked you. They're pushing you over. They're playing extremely hard. And they didn't show up. They didn't answer back after getting punched in the mouth. And that's not Denver's MO. Like, that's not what you're supposed to be. Like, this was the makings of they were missing their center. You respond by just going inside. They wasn't allowing that. Then you're like, okay, Jamal, you have the, mismatch. You have a smaller guard on you. Let's go at him. Jalen Brunson answered the calling every single time. And then on the other end, OG Anunoby just had his way with all of Denver. So, like, that was an eye-opening performance, and like I'm very ready for this Sixers game because they're going to try to do much of the same of that, especially with them just getting beat to sleep as well. So Denver has to like take a long look in the mirror and just try to find something to respond back to that, because them being soft out there, that's an effort thing.
Yeah.
So when the Nuggets are tough, one of the reasons they won the championship last year is because they were tough. But in the same way that the Nuggets are unselfish, but sometimes they have selfish games, the Nuggets have a good offense, sometimes the offense isn't good. Is tonight an example of just tonight they weren't tough? Or do you feel like this is a thing where Denver's toughness is not a given? They have to re-earn it, and they're not earning it right now.
I think in the regular season, they can have tough games and they can have not tough games.
Tonight was just a not tough night.
Tonight was a not tough night. And that was evident, I think, from the first minute of this game. Like, you realized really quickly in this one that you realized the tenacity that the Knicks were going to play with, like the aggressiveness that they were going to play with. And respect to them, they didn't let up until the final buzzer of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like, they played tough for 48 minutes tonight, even when the Nuggets had their G League team out there. And so, with the Knicks, I think they're the type of team that regular season, playoffs, it doesn't matter. They are going to play tough every night. The Nuggets, they are a tough team. But in the playoffs, you're going to get it every night. In the regular season, you might not get it every night. And tonight was one of those nights where you didn't get it.
If I ask you this question, it's about one guy. My concern with Michael Porter Jr. is his toughness.
Yeah.
He's a finesse player. He has beautiful, soft, feathery shot, touch. But one narrative that was never discussed last year in the playoffs is that Miami is a tough team, and that was the series he had bad. Now, I'm not saying it was because of that, but if I have one concern about Mike, it's that if I was game planning against the Nuggets, I'd be like, you know what, just rough that dude up. He goes away.
You just get into him.
Tonight, it felt like that, and that's why for me it's alarming. Is it alarming to you?
Well, it's always been a Mike problem, and I do think it's gotten somewhat better over the years, but it still is one. The Boston game's another good example because Derek White got in there and ate his lunch, but Porter didn't quit in that game, and he had those big offensive rebounds. Tonight, he was taken out of this game, completely. And so it's a bit of a concern. However, you bring up the Miami series, and I think it's kind of ironic because while he shot poorly in that series, I thought he checked all those other boxes. I thought he competed. I thought he was tough. I thought he rebounded and defended well. So, there are low floor games for Porter. We're going to see him, but I'm not going to go too far with, he was a tough player who played winning basketball when they went 16-4 and won a title. I bet he will be again. But yeah, he's prone to games like these tonight, and especially with guys. I know OG wasn't his primary matchup tonight, but that OG has something that Mike doesn't. For all that Mike does well, he can't just kick it into sixth gear for 4 quarters, and just tear up the court and run around and be a disruptive player the way OG is. And so I think the biggest disappointment is just that he let it take him out of it tonight, and he was just out to lunch, I thought, for most of that game.
I think what is a little concerning about that with MPJ is I'd agree. For almost the entirety of the playoffs, he did play tough. He did give the Nuggets what they needed. But I feel like there's been 2 games as of late where the softer version of Michael Porter has shown up.
Totally.
I can't remember. Was it the Philly game where that was the case? Was it the Utah loss? I can't remember, but there was one of the recent losses. I was sitting here and I said it reminded me of Michael Porter against Norman Powell. Might have been the Philly game. And now that we've seen that
that's
twice
a good callback. Yep.
in the last week, after I don't think we saw that at all this regular season up until this point.
You're right.
That's a little concerning that we've just seen it twice in the last couple losses.
And only 4 shot attempts in only 22 minutes. He didn't even play that much, but only 4 shot attempts. And, some of that was that Jamal Murray was very disrupted at just getting the flow of the offense today. But another part of that is, to your point, we clowned Kristaps Porzingis for getting, Reggie Jackson switched onto him and just being off balance the whole time. It kind of felt like that tonight with Dante DiVincenzo, where you're like, Mike, he's pushing you around. Just be strong with him. He's not that big.
He had that one play where he grabs the offensive board over him and puts it back through the foul. And it's like, yeah, dude, you're a foot taller than this guy. So those are the adjustments that you'd like to see him make. I will say, though, I did like seeing it in the Celtics game when it was the kind of game that usually removes him from it. And he was like, let me stick with this and try to play tall in the second half. But yeah, I mean, look, this is probably 3 games in a row or 2.5 games in a row now where Mike has looked out to lunch, just uninvolved, and he's got to be better.
Yeah, and we talk about just not being involved. It's not only the offense that he looks bad on. He's not making shots, but the IQ is bad. He's not trying on loose balls or trying to, run down anything. And the effort is just low. And I think that they go hand in hand. When he's not getting the ball, he's starting to go back to the moping, or I'm not going to give energy on this side of the floor, which we kind of we went away from for a very long time.
Right.
But it's starting to, come back. And that was the fear when he would not get the ball in the second half is okay, now he's just invisible. But right now it's not invisible. He's actually standing out on the other side of it. This was one of his worst defensive games. It was very bad. They were singling him out. They're putting him in the ISOs. There's a few loose balls that is 50-50 balls. He had no chance. And that's the old Michael Porter Jr. So you want him to get back to, even if the shots are not falling, you can still be a productive player. You can still be very impactful.
Michael Porter, I thought, was the worst of everyone tonight, but only by a slim margin, because there were some other guys tonight that were right there in what concerns you. We'll talk about them, but also we'll talk about Jokic, who lost in all of the shuffle. Always awesome. It was awesome tonight, man.
Even when he's playing with one eye.
Even when he has just one eye. We'll do that on the other side.
Guys, if you need gas and you see a Circle K around, there are a lot throughout Denver, but if your gas is getting a little low, you're driving by a Circle K, hit up Circle K.
Become a Circle K-sman, everybody. I'm telling you, they're a big sponsor of ours now.
They are.
Make the pledge. Circle K.
Make the pledge. Yes, it is show 3. The Inner Circle program at Circle K. It's free to sign up. Easy to download. You like free, you just give your email address, you give your phone number. You'll be fully enrolled. You can go to that QR code right there on the screen, or you can go to circlek.com/inner-circle. Sign up. You get 25 cents off a gallon your first 5 fill-ups. That's a pretty big discount. 25 cents off a gallon for your first 5 fill-ups. Again, it's free. You're saving money for free. So just go to that website, circlek.com/inner-circle. Sign up, email, phone number. You're fully enrolled, good to go. From there, you get other discounts on stuff like pizza, beverages, donuts. But the big one, 25 cents off a gallon, your first 5 fill-ups. You can get that when you're enrolled in the Circle K Inner Circle program.
DraftKings Sportsbook is America's top-rated sportsbook, and the NBA season is in full swing, which means it's basically NBA season at DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use code DNVR. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. And hopefully you'll do a little better than we did tonight. Bit of a cold streak from the fellas, but it'll come around. You can always play it safe and just bet on Jokic. You don't have to bet on the Nuggets. Although, fellas, we're not that far removed from them beating the Celtics in Boston. So, comes around, it goes around. Got a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario, bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/basketball for all eligibility and deposit restrictions, term, and responsible gaming resources.
You guys, are you curious at all how Tibbs felt about the game?
I feel like I know how he feels.
Absolutely.
About the game.
Do you think he was pretty happy? This was him sitting down at the podium to give his post game. Tibbs.
Oh, that's an evil laugh.
Wow.
Can't stop smiling.
I've never seen him that happy.
Look at Tibbs,
Never.
notoriously grouchy. This man loves his team right now. He is pumped. And it's funny because I bet you I know how Malone's presser went. We joke all the time. Where's Malone from? Do you remember?
He's from
New York.
He's from New York, right?
He's from Queens specifically.
He's from
right?
Queens, but he's from New York. Anytime you ask him anything about basketball, he somehow ties it back to the Garden. You know me. I grew up at the Garden, watching all the Knicks. You know what I'm
Jeff
saying?
Van Gundy. He gave
You know
me
what
my
I'm saying?
first shot
Just
in the NBA.
Van Gundy. You know what I'm saying, man? Pat Ewing. You guys
He
know
learned
what
a
I'm
lot
saying?
of things from Jeff.
All that. And you know he was pumped to come to the Garden tonight, see the lights and everything else. And
Probably took the subway. Probably nice walk around Central Park this morning.
his feet fed the pigeons. What else?
Yeah.
What's another New York thing? Probably stopped and got a dog on the corner.
Yeah. Popped into his,
I give you my impression of
popped
New York.
into his
Please keep
neighborhood
going.
bodega growing up.
Oh, a bodega? Dude, they got everything in a bodega.
Yeah.
That's so true. Where else can you get food and paper towels?
Dude, the energy of that
You
city,
know?
man, it's just
unmatched.
It's unmatched.
The trash on the
You
street.
know he was pumped, and I just love. There's a part of me that kind of loves the team watching him and floating on, just floating around and just being like, "Wait till you see the stinker we're about to give you tonight."
Probably
he gets to come here
saved his
once a
best
year.
pregame speech of the season for this game.
No doubt,
It's
he
like,
had a
fellas,
speech.
we're in the Mecca. There's just something different about the Garden. There's a different energy here.
Nuggets were like, pass. We're done. If there's one bright spot, we might as well get it to it now because we piston moaned that entire first quarter. Nikola Jokic goes 13 of 18 tonight. He had 31 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. Yes, he had 7 turnovers. Like I said, I think some of those really were the Torrey Craig. You're supposed to be over here, so I'm going to throw it out of bounds just so you can see how dumb you are. But nonetheless, 7 turnovers. He gets the credit for that. But in a toughness matchup, there's no one tougher than Yoke. The Knicks tonight, they did not have a unanimous decision. They had a split decision because one guy out there is up for it, and we do take it for granted because we rail on Murray's inconsistency every other day, Murray. But we can't take for granted the fact that Yoke literally just brings it every night, man. And tonight was one where the game was over. They were down 30. Yoke's out there just like landing haymakers, just still going, and I just respect the hell out of it.
Yeah, when you talk about toughness, I mean, like, this was a game, really. That was a scary part of the game when his eye got poked. He was, like, on the ground for a very long time.
I've never seen him do like that for that long.
Have you ever been
never
poked in the
either.
eye like that? That was wild. Like, that is a crazy feeling. I was scared. But, I mean, he got back in the game. Like, he could have just called it a night. They were down big, but that
A
just
lot
goes
of
to show
players,
him.
Dev. A lot of players. That would have been the last you saw him.
And why? Like, it would have been okay on top of that. If he
Right.
did not return back to that game, no one would have been upset because we got to see what actually happened. The game was out of hand, but I know he was ready to go back out there and fight because that's the type of competitor that he is. That's the type of player that he is. I mean, I want to give credit to the Knicks. They had a game plan.
Yeah.
He's a computer. He started to finally figure it out. And then also he was just like, I'm not going to get punked. I'm still going to score whenever I want to. You still have no answer for me. If other people like would have, rallied around them or played up to what their standards were, that was not going to be a game that they would have did that. But he's bringing it every single night. Like, that's really the definition of consistency. Every single time he's going to bring his best. And that was another good game by Jokic where odds were against them again, and he's like, I'm still going to perform.
He finished with 31 points tonight. When Nikola Jokic checked out of this game at the end of the third quarter, he played the entire third quarter. When the third quarter was over, He had 31 of the Nuggets' 66 points. And he was playing with one eye. And how the Knicks started this game off, they were so locked in defensively, New York was. And very early on this game, they were sending very complex double teams and like they were rotating like
they're
really
locked in.
Complex off the ball and stuff. And it threw the Nuggets off at the beginning of this game. Like the Knicks rotations, the Knicks were so good defensively tonight. They were able to throw, most of the Nuggets starters off just with their physicality and just how on point they were. But they didn't throw Nikola Jokic off. Like whatever they did, it wasn't enough to even rattle him tonight. I mean, he shot 13 of 18. Again, with one eye. So the Knicks defense was so good. It took every Nuggets starter out of this game except Nikola Jokic, who kind of had an incredible game.
His touch.
He only played 27 minutes, 31 and 11.
I don't remember when it was. Or was it December or something? He went on a little where he was missing bunnies. Like
2 games.
Well, 2 games that were really bad. But then there were a couple games there, like 6, 7 games where the touch was a little off. He went back. He went to the mattresses after that, and now his touch is just so ridiculous. It was again tonight, some tough ones.
It's kind of been as good as ever actually since then. Yeah. He's been almost just as efficient as he was inefficient. And yeah, I'm with you. Tonight it looked like he literally couldn't miss some of those, despite the great defense Wynn mentioned, despite having to choose the middle rim between the three. I think if he didn't have to miss time, and if teammates were up to ball tonight, we were looking at a real masterclass, a real masterpiece, because he was, we're saying, like, we're talking about the lowest bar. Like, he was ready to go. He wasn't just ready to go. He was ready to dominate. And he didn't even have Murray with him tonight. And there have been some games where it's just those two and it's enough to carry, but he just never had a running mate tonight. But he was locked in. He's unbelievable.
Jokic just has this virtue to him, this principle where he just goes hard, man. And like that's the thing about
he can't do anything else.
He just plays the same way. So they're down 30. It's hopeless. And I know a lot of people are like, "Why is he in the game? Take him out." I mean, you just don't take guys out with like 30 minutes left to go in the game, even if it feels over. So you ride him out that last stint in the third, and he's just playing it as if it was a tie game, just still going at it. And I don't know what value it really brings, but I respect and appreciate the hell out of the fact that he ran through the tape tonight, and still did his thing. And
I think like you said, you just got to respect it, and you got to appreciate it because, like I was saying earlier, a lot of guys would not have come out of the locker room after halftime.
Yeah. Why
after
would
getting
you?
poked in the eye like that, down 20.
Yeah,
that would have been the end of the night for a lot of guys. A lot of stars.
Jamal Murray, we talked very briefly, but 3 of 11 tonight.
It's terrible.
I just wonder how bothered Murray is by his own inconsistency. Like, how bothered is he? Jalen Brunson, people are going to be so mad at me for saying this. Jalen Brunson is a better player than Murray in the regular season. He just is. Guy is tough, consistent, does some of the same stuff Murray does where he kind of gets to his spots and makes tough shots and puts pressure on you. And that guy just every night is the leader of that team and plays with a toughness. And tonight, look, OG Anunoby's a great defender, but he's like a Jaden McDaniels. He's like a Kawhi Leonard. He's like the guys that Murray's going to have to go up against. And tonight,
he's like the guys that Murray has cooked in the playoffs
and has
many
cooked
times.
in the playoffs. But tonight, it was just one where it was like, is Murray bothered by getting absolutely dominated tonight? If that happened to Jokic, that we would all be so down bad about. Oh my God, Murray got dominated, he couldn't do nothing. With Murray, we just almost accept that. Yeah, it happens a lot. He gets bottled up by guys. Tonight he was bottled up.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks because he's so good in the playoffs that we just kind of give him excuses throughout the regular season of like bad performances, and there's a lot of them. Does he have some incredible performance throughout the regular season? Yes, of course he does. But you also want him to show up in these type of games and these big matchups with other guards or guys that are going to switch up their defense to try to slow him down. Again, the Knicks came in with a game plan. They executed that game plan to the best of their ability. They got under Jamal's skin. They used size against them, just really physical with them, and he really did not respond. And he just was like, okay, tonight's not my night. But that's what separates, the greats. That's what separates those type of competitors of, I'm still going to go at you every single time. And I think at times he's just kind of complacent. Like, he's okay with what's happening around him. And you want him to push. I knew that this was going to be a bad game from him from the opening tip. He was like, they're not on the same page as they typically are, him and Jokic. He bounced past it right out of bounds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. First play of the game,
First
turnover.
play of the
Yep.
game. And it just already, like, it spiraled from there. But he spends a lot of every single possession just over dribbling. Just not in a rhythm right now, not in a zone. And then we'll see a great game where he looks like he's all
Every
the way
other
back
game.
and in his zone. And you're like, where is that? Where is that? So, like, you want him to be consistent. You want him to not have that playoff level because he's playing, like, at an all-time great type of level in the playoffs. But you just want that consistency throughout the regular season so that you don't have to work up to it. You're just already at that level.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Knicks swarmed him tonight. OG Anunoby swarmed him tonight. They just locked him up. And, I mean, it's just something that you got to accept with Jamal Murray at this point. In the regular season, there are going to be some games where he looks all world, and there are going to be games where he looks like this.
Yeah.
But you got to also know in the back of your mind that when it really counts in the playoffs, he's going to absolutely bring it.
Yeah, no, but what does that matter? My point is, we all know that.
Yeah.
It just seems weird to put that into the conversation of the fact that he's kind of trick or treat during the regular season. And by the way, Brunson tonight, 7 of 10 Brunson was.
It was easy.
That was so easy. And he ISO'd Murray on some of those where it was like, get out the way, guys. I've got a mismatch. Let me just get to my spot and shoot a nice little 7-footer on him.
I kind of thought he was worse defensively tonight
Yeah.
than anything else. I mean, 2 or 3 of 11 isn't great either. So I guess pick your poison. But that's it. It's just that there were no spots where he kind of seemed up to the challenge. And it was a challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, they were going after him out of stoppages. And so it was like, hey, man, you're getting picked on a little bit here.
I've only got 2 takes left. One of them is that Denver's defensive aces, KCP and Aaron Gordon, both lost their matchup, which is weird because, Randall is a good player, but I think that AG can slow him down, not tonight, and KCP is a really good defender. He had no impact. So that's a rare example. I don't know how often we see both of those guys lose their matchup, and tonight was a rare example of it. And then my last one that I'll throw to you guys on, but Peyton Watson, to me, he's not one of the best players on the team. We know the starting 5, I think, are all better, but he might be the most consistent. If he's like a B- player right now in terms of just where he's at, 19, 20 years old, whatever, 21 years old, on the come up, he kind of brings the same quality every single night. And he was 3 of 8 tonight, got 7 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, and played some good defense. He's consistent.
He's on like an X amount of games streak here of doing something. We always talk about that, right? Just come in and do something off the bench. And even on the nights where Peyton is maybe 3 of 7 and the shot looked a little wayward, he was stellar defensively, or we saw a great pass off the move after cutting. And he's found a way to do something positive in just virtually every game since he really cracked the rotation. And so he is, I mean, I just don't, like tonight, I think we mentioned this already, but so much talk about no one showed up outside of Jokic except for kind of Peyton Watson.
Yeah.
And he is good for that right now. He is good for showing up and being game, if nothing else. And he had another block tonight. How quickly, obviously how tall he is when he's fully extended, and the 2-hand blocks when he jumps, it's crazy. But how quickly he gets from the ground to his highest point. And how he can do it with minimal load up, coming over from a different defender. Like, he's unbelievable. And he had another block tonight that I was just shaking my head at. He's crazy.
Yeah, when it comes to Peyton Watson, I mean, that's the thing about what you're asking for the bench. You're not playing a whole bunch of minutes. So, like, you're just asking when you're out there to be productive, to be impactful. And he's just really impactful. You're not asking him to do too much. He's not playing starter minutes. You want him to make a play, a game-changing play, or, a game-altering play, and he makes a lot of those. And that's where the consistency comes in. And that's where you need the bench to follow. You need them to just all play with that same type of just make plays, do your job, do something that goes above and beyond because you have just this small amount of time to make an impact. And he does that. He's getting blocks. He's getting switches on guys that he has no business guarding, but he's able to show that he's going to fight on these type of plays. It's not like he's wowing you with the numbers. or anything like that, but that's okay. You just want him to do his job. He does his job every night.
We were talking about this during the watch along. If the playoffs started today, who would be getting the most minutes per game off the bench for the Nuggets? It might be Peyton Watson.
I think it is.
It might be Peyton Watson, I think, for a couple reasons, but one of them is the consistency. Like you brought up, you kind of just know what you're getting from him night in, night out. You're going to get effort. You're going to get a couple block shots. You're going to get a couple spectacular plays. And we've talked about this a lot on this show. The playmaking with him and his ability to just make stuff happen with the ball in his hands, I think we're seeing that more and more and more. And maybe that's the next part of Peyton Watson's evolution.
Yeah.
Him as the playmaker.
I think to get there, Malone has to trust him.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Malone doesn't.
He had 3 assists today.
Malone doesn't hand out trust very easily, especially to young players. But I also wonder if he looks around and goes, but who else is there to trust? You know, Christian is in a really rough spot and some of the other guys. So I wonder if like Peyton earns that just by virtue of who else has it. And to be honest with you, man, I think Peyton is 2 months away from Malone allowing him, 2 months away from actually being a good offensive player.
Yeah.
He's getting more and more comfortable with that little fade, that very close jumper.
Soft touch.
And it's kind of something he's comfortable going to when his drives, because sometimes he makes up his mind early that he's driving. And if it's cut off in the very beginning, he was kind of like, where do I go with it? But he's got some nice counters now. He's got 2 to 3 things in the half court he's looking for, comfortable with. I mean, this guy's getting better every week.
No doubt about it. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, guys, All-Star. Voting is out. We knew Jokic would make it, but there's interesting little votes to be mined in the All-Star voting. We're going to get into that on the other side.
Guys, shout out to our friends at Red Hawk Roofing. If you were in the bar tonight,
this was dope.
You had the chance to win 2 of their tickets to Nuggets 76ers. We were giving those away.
Shout out to Crystal Ghost.
And we did give those away. What was the name of the guy?
Crystal Ghost, Elliot. Crystal Ghost.
Crystal Ghost won them.
Crystal Ghost won?
Yeah.
Of course, hell yeah.
Yeah, he won tickets to the 76ers
so he'll
Nuggets
be
game
at Nuggets
76ers
on Saturday. Shouts to him. And shouts to our friends at Red Hawk
Did
Roofing.
you play the Hawk?
He did.
They are the best roofers in Colorado. Colorado's best estimators and contractors. Free, no obligation roof and property inspections as well. Free in-depth photo reports for all inspections too.
I had a Hawk the other day screeching out the back.
Did you? Was it a Red Hawk?
Did it sound like that?
It really did. That's how they sound.
If you're looking for a new roof over your home or business, give Red Hawk Roofing a call.
Yeah, right there.
Go to their website, redhawkroofing.com. Tell them DNVR sent you.
If there's a good chance your child won't land an athletic scholarship, or he's afraid of heights, probably not going to be a roofer, you're going to want some backup plans here. How about College Invest? It's important to start saving for college early, and you need a plan just in case your child doesn't land that scholarship, like I said.
I'm afraid of heights.
So it's important, me too, actually. It's important to start saving for college early. College Invest makes it easy with flexible savings plans. Plus, this is neat, you benefit from a Colorado tax deduction. So open your account at collegeinvest.org today.
You should be afraid of heights, though. It's like if you're not afraid of it, you're like, you could fall and die.
That's why you're afraid of
That's
heights.
why you're afraid of them.
It's a death risk.
No Carmelo Anthony at the game tonight. Everybody's telling me.
John Turturro was there. Spike Lee was there. Who else?
Carmelo did not accept my challenge.
Unreal.
Didn't show up.
Unbelievable.
What's your favorite John Turturro movie, Dev?
Do the right thing.
Obvious
Oh,
choice.
he got it. There you go. There's one. For me, I would say Big Lebowski, probably. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
He's pretty
Also
good.
in
He's
there.
pretty good in the Batman. That just came out.
There you go.
He's pretty good in it.
Voting is in. We know who is going to the All-Star. Cal, do you want to pull those up from earlier in the show? Do you have them here?
The starters.
The starters for the All-Star
starters.
game are out, and our boy Nikola Jokic. Man, that is the smallest version of that graphic.
Oh boy.
There we go, Jokic. This actually, I can't read this graphic. This thing was on
All right.
it. Didn't we have one earlier that had the?
Jokic was first in the player rank, second in the fan rank, first in the media rank, and second in weighted score behind LeBron James.
So only the fans who actually have Jokic second, which is really high, but it is interesting that the players had him above above LeBron, above everybody. He received, if we mine the data here, you guys, we actually have the deep dive data. Jokic received from the media 99 out of 100 votes. Who do you think the one vote was for?
I have an idea. I don't want to say it.
Say it. Who? Just of the player. Who else would have gotten the vote when they were like, all right, we need a center?
Oh, the player?
No, what player would have gotten it?
Well, we would need another front court player.
Rudy Gobert.
Because there's no center on the roster.
You're right.
There's no center position. So it can be any front court player.
So it could have just been someone who was like Kawhi, Luka, and KD.
Right.
Yeah, it had to be a one-off. No, that's weird.
Somebody put a big in there, man.
Yeah, it had to be Anthony Davis.
Who?
Hoomst.
There's no way anybody watched this season and was like,
it had to be McMenamin or...
Yeah, McMenamin, maybe. Yeah. I'm not really bothered by it, but
Kawhi Leonard was 4th on the media rank. So I wonder if somebody put him.
Oh, yeah. That is a random. His numbers doesn't match.
Jokic was number 1, though, in the player rank, meaning when the players were surveyed who should make it, Jokic beat everybody. LeBron was number 2. I'm kind of surprised by that. And then Kevin Durant was number 3, Kawhi 4. Anthony Davis somehow came in 5th in the player rank.
He's having a good
front
season.
court.
The Lakers have it, though.
Yeah, I guess it's just if we're doing just front court. But does that mean anything to you? Like, winning the champion, we don't talk about it a ton, but winning the title has elevated Jokic in the eyes of other players. Where before there was a lot of like, this guy just gets so much love because of this or that. To now, like, players seem to unanimously be like, that's a bad man.
I mean, he's been whipping ass for a long time now. It used to be like all this other stuff. It used to be like his numbers and like advanced stats. Then it used to be like, how is he doing it with this shape and stuff? But now he's just whipping ass. Like, it's too many times. And also, they have to deal with Jokic. So it's a little bit different when you saw it from afar. You didn't get to see it, up close. But it's so consistent that players have to respect it. He forces you to respect it, but also they understand. I can't do what he's doing every single night for this long.
Yeah, there definitely was a shift, and now it's just like, yeah, it's Jokic. Well, it's Jokic.
It's Jokic, and someone has to come and take it.
Yeah, it's his title. It's his league.
But
that's just what it is right now.
Players and fans too. Like, I know everyone should know by now, but again, honestly, the fan vote is the last area I ever expected Jokic to start shooting up.
But he is, though.
That's what I'm saying, though. And leapfrogging guys like Kevin Durant, like, obviously he's a better player in this day and age, but that's still a meaningful shift in just the general, at-a-glance kind of NBA landscape. If you say anyone other than Jokic, people are going to hold your feet to the fire. Defend that take. And it's been cool to see.
Another thing that's interesting, there was another ratings. I can't remember which one it was. What game just came out where Denver had Denver involved, and it was one of the best rated games of the entire season. I'm trying
Nuggets
to look
Celtics.
Up. Was it Nuggets Celtics?
It was the best weekday.
Oh, that's true. That's what it was.
January game
in 6 years
in a long time
or something.
But I'm telling you, this is a consistent thing that because I pay attention to rating. I just find not everybody finds them interesting. I find them super fascinating because the health of the league is something I just think about. The Nuggets keep popping up, man. And the formula is like Nuggets Hawks, nobody's watching that. Nobody's watching it, even whatever. But Nuggets Celtics, Nuggets Lakers, Nuggets Warriors, the marquee teams, whether they're good or not, they're marquee. Everybody tunes in. It's almost like the Nuggets are the best matchup for those ones.
Right.
And then you combine that with the fan vote being way up there. I just think the Nuggets are way more popular because of last year's run. Not before that, but because of last year's run, I think a lot of people were like, this is dope. I want to watch it a lot more. And it isn't quite clear yet. I feel like we're ahead. Nobody's really talking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the fans are, of course, like, what have you done for me lately? They're the champions. They just won. But also when you watch that run, it was so dominant of a run because they went through teams that you had to see, you had to watch. And then I think that beating the Lakers was a big bump because, I mean, everybody's going to watch the Lakers. A lot of people expected Denver to lose that series.
Right.
They played the Suns. They had Durant and Devin Booker. Of course, that brought that in. And then you win it against Miami, they're just tough as nail in the playoffs, and you win so convincingly. So I think it was like you went on a ride with Denver, and they got to see what we have been able to see, but it was winning basketball. It was fun basketball. They're whipping the ball around. They have a superstar who's bringing it every single night. Like that, it was a lot that you root for, and also this is a good team.
if you were an alien and you just got dropped into the world for the first time and you watch all 30 teams once, like, you would want to watch the Nuggets again. A lot of the top draws in the NBA right now suck.
Yeah.
Like, the Lakers suck to watch.
Yeah,
you know?
okay, of course.
The Celtics are okay.
They're fun to watch. People
Yeah.
like the Celtics.
The Celtics,
They shoot all those
yeah.
threes.
Yeah.
Tatum has that footwork.
It's awesome footwork, dude.
The step back is fun sometimes. But, I mean, the Nuggets are so fun and enjoyable to watch. They play a great style. They play a little different than everybody else. Nikola Jokic has now had a no-look behind-the-head two-handed pass 3 games in a row.
Yeah. I'm afraid he didn't even mention that. You're right. Yeah.
He's had, like, the pass of the year in 3 straight games.
Don't you like that he sometimes does this where he does something and then he's like, all right, it's my new thing. Now he's doing it every time.
Dude, it's been 3 straight games, the same pass. The same pass that nobody except, like, him and Luka pull off.
Yeah. Pretty
and
impressive.
Luka's done it, like, once ever.
Pretty good to watch. Jamal Murray, by the way, guys, came in 8th in the player ranking. Came in 8th. It was Shea came in 1st, Luka 2nd, Steph 3rd, which is very surprising to me that Steph came in 3rd this year. Kyrie was 4th. Players. Oh no, I'm sorry. Anthony Edwards was 4th.
God, this
Devin
league.
Booker was 5th.
This league.
De'Aaron Fox was 6th. Kyrie 7th. And then James Harden and Jamal Murray tied for 8th. I feel like that's kind of meaningful. That's not that high, and he hasn't had that good of a year. But like to be, players respect James Harden's talent level,
What
right?
kind of guys is Murray above?
So we continue this list. 10th was Desmond Bane.
Thank God.
You're right. The list does maybe drop off here. Bradley Beal was 11th.
Ugh.
13th was Mike Conley.
Yikes.
Tied with Anthony Simon. So you're right. Murray was actually right at the cutoff to where this
Murray
became
would
no
have
longer impressive.
been below any of those guys.
You're right.
And honestly,
Yeah, I
man,
thought it sounded so cool.
I know.
Because I only read up front. I didn't read behind it. You're right. Damn
He
it.
was almost behind Desmond
Bane,
Bane
yeah.
in the
Sounds
player
right, though.
voting.
I was just about to say that.
shit.
Are you
God.
mad about where it was? Like,
I wasn't mad. I was actually excited. But now that I read it, I'm like, there's no reason to be excited.
he's right at the
Yikes.
right spot, though. Those
You know
other
what?
guys.
This is why. Because Jamal Murray is sometimes in the tier above that. The Kyrie, Devin Booker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander tier. And sometimes in the tier below that, which is Desmond Bane's a pretty good dude. Austin Reeves is pretty good sometimes. I hate that we're here.
Where is Austin Reeves?
KCP, by the way, also 11, also right there in that zone. So
Like KCP was in that zone?
I'm telling you, the list drops. Basically,
That's
means,
not good.
Here's what it means.
That's not good.
What it means is everybody voted for the top 7
Yeah,
guys,
yeah,
and then everyone else received like 4 votes or something, and he's one of them. I guess that's not that encouraging after all. If we go to the front court in the Eastern Conference, just to round it out, Giannis is the only player, I believe, to receive 100 votes from the media. Everybody agreed it was Giannis. Embiid got only 98 of the votes, surprisingly, and Jason Tatum got 97. I can't believe anybody, honestly.
So one media member did not vote Jokic as a starter.
And 2 for Joel Embiid. And I'm telling you guys, I'm as outraged for Joel Embiid. Like, what are we doing here? What is the argument for not Embiid?
Yeah, that one
There
makes no
is
sense.
none. It must have just been a mistake. Like you're pulling up the drop-down menu, and instead of Embiid, you're taking like I don't even know. Ewing.
Jaylen Brown and Paolo Banchero were right next on that list. And if you go to the guards, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard. The player rank, by the way, had Lillard 4th. Players actually had Maxey 2nd. Maxey came in way later than that. Do you think that Lillard, I think, is on reputation on this one? I think it should have been Jalen Brunson. I'm surprised he didn't win. Trae Young was there. Donovan Mitchell was there. Then Tyrese Maxey. But Damian Lillard, starter in the All-Star game.
Disgusting.
Yeah,
Disgusting?
I mean,
I think he's the worst starter.
with the Bucks getting 2 starters, everything must be going really smooth in Milwaukee.
It's true.
I mean, 2 All-Star game starters. Like,
Well, you know what's funny, actually? I just thought of this. Celtics were the 1 seed in the East last year, right? So Mazzulla coached the All-Star game. You can't do it 2 years in a row. That means the Bucks, second right now in the East, it'll be Doc Rivers that coaches the Eastern Conference.
That's hilarious.
If they hold on to the 2 seed by the break, which they probably will, Doc Rivers will be the coach.
That's hilarious.
That is pretty hilarious.
Rivers-
And you
right
know
in
Doc
there.
Rivers is going to love that shit.
He is so good at getting a job. He is unbelievably
It's not
good.
that he just got a job. Did you see how much money they
40
gave
mil?
Doc? $40 million.
Yeah, and he got some years on that.
Like, who are they competing with? I guess ESPN. Well, how much could he been making? Could he been making from ESPN? He's not making more than like $5-10 million.
What a winner.
$40 million they
I
just
know.
paid Doc Rivers.
I'm
bro.
done hating on Doc. Honestly, I tip my hat. Get your bag.
Get your bag, man. Do you? But I do find it
God.
very interesting that, as we just learned, it changes my whole take. Matt Murray is getting respect. Actually, not. He's getting no respect from the players. And Tyrese Maxey getting tons of respect from the players. It's kind of a noteworthy thing to me. It's a little bit interesting. I'm always curious. Not that players are right, because they're actually wrong a lot about these kinds of things, in my opinion. But it is worthwhile noting, who do players think is that guy? And, you know,
They don't think it's Jamal Murray.
they just don't. Although in the playoffs, they find out. Kale, can you pull up the Western Conference, the start? We had it in the pregame show, just so we can kind of take a look at it. It is going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Luka Doncic, along with LeBron, Jokic, and Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
We did this a little bit in the pregame, but I know now we can do it for the podcast here. Is there any chance Jokic is different than he has been in years prior?
I'm going to say no. I think the angle I'm going to steal from Wind, he already said this in the pregame show, so let me credit him. But it is, maybe playing with Luka gives just a little bit of fun out there, a little bit of joy. Luka might look for him in a way other co-starters have not in the past. But, I mean, it's also a lot of guys who are going to have the ball in their hands. And I think Jokic is going to maybe jokingly set 2 screens and then hang out on the block.
I think he plays a little bit harder this year. I do. I mean, they're going to make that matchup versus him and Embiid like a bit more. And again, you just talked about having Luka there. Luka's going to feed him, to say, go at him, brother. That's going to be a thing. But also, he's a champion now. I really think there's a little bit more to. You can't just mess around him. We don't see the joke around Jokic anymore. He's not that same jovial guy. He's pretty serious now, and he's even talked about that process and that change. So I think that he goes and approaches it just a little bit different. Do I think he goes all out? No. They have a season. He has higher goals, but I don't think that he just bullshits this year.
What about this angle? Him and Luka on the same team? There any chance there's a all-star recruitment going on?
Sure.
The Mavs kind of getting clowned a lot themselves lately.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming off a bad loss to the Suns.
Very bad loss.
I've thought the Mavs have been a bit overrated all season. I just
I mean, they're
don't.
not rated that high, though.
Yeah, but they got off to that hot start and the Derek Lively thing, and I was just never really buying it. I've never bought the Kyrie Luka pairing. I mean, that's not gonna last that long. Luka is, I think, Nikola Jokic's best friend in the league. When they were in Denver, Luka was at Jokic's house, I believe, for Serbian Christmas.
Right.
I think that's when he was here. He went over for that. Those two are very, very tight. They're very close. I think Jokic plays a little harder this All-Star game as well. Just looking at the starters for the West, KD and Luka are going to be firing up a bunch of shots. SGA isn't really an All-Star game type of guy, though.
That's true. He sucked in the last one. Do you remember how bad he was?
Yeah.
He was worse than Jokic.
LeBron will probably try to get his numbers, but there will be some opportunities for Jokic
dude.
in this one.
I can already tell you the narrative. Age 39, year 21, he is still doing this in an All-Star game.
Oldest player to win All-Star game MVP.
For sure, it's a lock.
But, I mean, we can all dream that the game is close in the fourth quarter and they're just giving it to Jokic and Embiid every possession in the post against one another.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
One of these days, he's going to care about it. It might be this one, but more than anything, I wouldn't mind him recruiting Luka a little bit. I teach Luka how to win. Luka's lost
We
enough
need 2
now.
more championships first. So just plant the seed.
Plant the seed.
Plant the seed and come back to it in a couple of years. He can be here for the second three-peat.
Those guys.
We got to get him to beat the Knicks, man.
Dude, referees would boycott Nuggets games.
Oh, it's so true. We would
They
be an
would just
insufferable
stop.
squad.
They would stop going.
All right, let's hit some super
A lot
chats,
of
Kale.
this.
The sickos.
So much of that.
Hey,
A lot of
congrats
this
to all
going
the
on.
sickos who super chatted this L.
BJ Malaise. Love you
Ooh.
guys. Thanks
He's
for
a sicko.
suffering with me.
I have a feeling the Nuggets were suffering from a little BJ Malaise
Nice.
today.
Nice.
We're suffering.
PS14.
How long does the malaise last?
Jamal
You?
ducking
Does
OG
it last
challenge was
longer in New
disappointing.
York?
Mike lethargic. Bench gave next to nothing. Shout out to Yoke for having that dog inside of him. Much respect to Tibbs and NY. Rough Riders 1 through 15 will be a tough out in the playoffs. I've never seen playoffs.
I agree, man. I agree with all those takes.
All of them, man.
Yeah.
Every single one.
The Knicks do compete hard. Haley Keel, I made a great decision and turned it off to watch LSU versus South Carolina women's basketball on ESPN instead. Best basketball game I've seen in a while. Who won?
Definitely better than the one we watched.
No, you missed it. It was a comeback. It was crazy, man. You missed it.
You're wrong. You're so wrong.
Congrats
man.
on your competitive basketball.
Hey,
Haley,
fourth
you got to
quarter
pay
was
attention.
crazy.
You're
I
not a
watched
diehard
Jay
then.
Huff. 5-5-5-5-5-ish. It's strange how Jokic playing hard doesn't seem to exert the same contagious energy like if Jamal plays hard. Murray really is the heart of the team.
I like that take. I think that's a good take, man.
It's a
That
good
is
take. Yeah,
when he
it's
plays well, though.
interesting.
But it also just adds another person, though. Like, Jokic brings it every time. He
Every
needs somebody
time.
else to bring it.
Sure.
So when Jamal brings it, it's like, okay, we have to.
We're
But I
rolling
do
tonight.
think that they rally around Jamal, too.
Instead, they were like, oh, he's getting his ass kicked by OG and Jalen. Nope, we're done.
Yeah.
Andrew Sullivan with a little perspective. Disappointing game, but the Nuggets finished the toughest road trip of the year, 3-2. I'll take that.
You know what's funny, though, is 'cause as much as I agree with that, it just doesn't. There's 3 games left in narrative week, and they are the MVP gauntlet. You have 76ers coming up. We're going to spend a lot of tomorrow's show on it. They got Milwaukee on Monday. They got OKC revenge game on Wednesday. Like, what is Denver so far? So 3-2 on that road trip plus the other 2. So 5-2 so far. But it's like still unclear whether or not it was a successful narrative week. It all comes down to these last 3 games.
Oh, man. Man.
What else?
Steve, in other news, is Colin the Jokic of the G League?
Yes.
He might be, man.
Colin's such a great example, though, of just the levels to this and how different the G League is. Colin is way too good at basketball for the G League. Way too good. But he's too small to play in the NBA, probably.
36 points for a guy his size who's not particularly quick or a scorer is like, how do I judge that?
Colin Gillespie's an amazing basketball
He's a-
player, man.
yeah,
he's
he's
an
an amazing
awesome
player.
basketball player.
He's
But
just-
36 points is a lot of points.
yeah.
They ain't playing much defense over there. Some of those numbers are incredible.
I know, dude. The G League is not real.
Yeah. Just not an NBA player, I don't think.
Peter Duck, I want Jokic to recruit Embiid.
You do, Peter?
Thanks, Peter,
What?
for just
That was a
ruining
joke.
it.
To
It
come
had to
off
be
the
a
bench?
joke.
I mean, thank you for paying.
All right, hit that outro music, Kale. Our shortest episode of the year. But you know what? The Nuggets didn't give us anything to work with.
That game deserves a short episode.
Very, very short
We
episode.
also had a watch along.
And
We spoke more about this game than almost
Who
any
is-
other game this season.
Who was more hyped up for this game, us or Michael Malone? The Nuggets are like, we can ruin Malone's mood and their DNVR's
I
watch
mean,
along.
only one of those people definitely got $1 slice before this game.
dollar slice. We need a supercut. Somebody sicko out there make a supercut of Malone talking about New York. It would actually be a hilarious supercut, like a Doug Comp style video, and it's just him saying, "Hey, you know what I mean?"
I'll never forget.
Oh,
when I
Jeff
was,
Van Gundy, you know, like
I took TJ McBride. We were in New York City. It was his first time there. We were in a taxi cab and we rolled past like a pile of trash on the ground. And TJ just goes, I love this city. Just as earnestly as he can.
everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. That sucked. We'll see you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.